GM. GM. Let me set my mic up. Today is Sunday, 24th of December, Christmas Eve. I got it right. I got the date exactly right. Let's look at daily levels. So, total 3 continues to lead as Bitcoin lags. So, obviously, something of note, and probably means that some kind of pullback will come. As you see here, if I just put Bitcoin on and we compare the two, it's now 4 days that total 3 has broken out, while Bitcoin has not. Right? So 1. 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 days of outperformance. So yeah, pretty much every time, if you watch the lesson I did on how to spot tops in market research last week, this is something that happens pretty much every single time that we have a some type of top before a pullback, is that alts consistently lead. The question is, are we in 20, like the equivalent of 2019 or 2021 even, or are we in like the 2020, which is kind of the point where alts began to consistently lead, right? As you see here. And here we go. Just get it here. You'll see it. We have alts and we have BTC. And it took Bitcoin until November to reclaim its June 19 highs, whereas alts, the June 19 highs got reclaimed in August 2020. So that was a period of altcoin outperformance, right? Coming out of COVID, Bitcoin rallied up, altcoins rallied up, but Bitcoin was stronger. So Bitcoin got back towards the pre-COVID highs faster. You can see here, Bitcoin got right up to the COVID highs on its initial rally, whereas alts didn't. It took alts a bit longer. But when alts got to there, they accelerated more and got above their June bear market rally highs faster. And so if you look at it and you imagine that we are somewhere like here right now, where alts are starting to really outperform after Bitcoins move up, right? Then alts really start running. This continued for however long, July, August, into September really, before we had the first proper sell-off. So 4 days, is it is it anything to be concerned about? Not really. But at the same time, is there a day like this coming at some point? Most likely, yes. Right? And if you're looking at the total cap, total 3, it's going to be a flush back down probably to where we broke out from. And then that's going to signal, not the bottom, that'll be like the dip that gets bought heavily, probably over the new year. Then it'll run us up into the highs, and maybe it tops there. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know. We might get an even greater extended rally, but who knows? I would look at that and say, at some point over the next couple of weeks, maybe probably the next week or so, once we're, between Christmas and New Year is generally going to be the weakest part. You're going to see this kind of whipsaw candle across alts, and then it'll get probably bought up and we'll push higher. So a little bit like what we saw over here, right? We have the whipsaw candle, which is going to be this one, which is the same as this one. And so for me, that would mean, up as high as 510 again, but all the way down to 475 is possible. And then keeping this general upslope structure intact. right? Anything like this, just sort of keeping grinding higher and higher. It hasn't really pushed beyond that yet, which is obviously a good sign. It's a sign of a fairly healthy rally. And, the more I look at this, the more I just think that every dip's a buy. Every decent dip's a buy. And we've built two really solid bases along the way here. Rallied up, built a solid base, rallied up, built a solid base, pushing now. Now, the difference would be if we really take off to 600 billion or whatever, then I would say that this is leg one, consolidate, leg two, consolidate, and that's blow off top leg three. And I would be expecting from there, you'd see like a full reversion of the move, right? And then away it goes again after. That would be like the most aggressive, right? But it can only really do that if you have a really aggressive acceleration. Otherwise, it's going to, come into a level where it goes more so sideways. So it overextends slightly and then just corrects down. So you have like something like that. And then you just see the total three is like holding above its previous range levels, right? And then it takes off from there. Because I do think, when you think about it, you got stuff like Injective hitting all-time highs, Teller, TRB hitting all-time highs, a few others. You got Fetch and Render that are moving towards that. They're not there yet, but they're trying to. You've got, I feel like one of them slipping my mind. I'm pretty sure there is actually another 2021 coin that's at all-time highs. And so the target for these, Optimism's all-time highs. And so the target for all these coins is new all-time high, right? That's basically the target for every single altcoin eventually. And a little sneak preview here, I'm going to be making a special lesson or a series of lessons on how to trade all-time high. So basically how to trade when there is no resistance above. And that's when price is in what we call price discovery, right? When it's at a new high, how do you trade it? So definitely keep your eye on that. And so since all coins want to go towards that level, then that is where we're going to gravitate towards over the next year. And it's probably going to happen quite fast in stages, because especially as some of the higher caps begin to have another leg up, right? I mean, Solana just keeps chugging along, and Solana is about 10% of this whole index. Would I be right in saying? So that Solana's about almost 50 billion in a market cap. Yeah, 46. So Solana's basically 10% of this index. And so Solana alone can drag this up. But of course, everything else is rising too. And as you see some of them go for their second legs, which actually many are right now, I want to look at some others like Link, which has been lagging, but is continuing to, Link's been lagging, but Link's been building a really good base here. And it's not out of the question. It's not crazy to think that Link could mark up again towards almost 30 from here before it tops out and then has more of a bleed for a few months, right? Because it's got the momentum and it's already marked up from kind of $4 all the way up to 17, breaking out and pushing towards this liquidity over here, putting it towards 30. Like that's almost doubling for Link. And Link's 8.7 billion. So if you add another 8 or 9 billion to the market cap of Link, or to the market cap of the total three, again, it shows you, and you can see how a lot of these, like this whole total three index, can rise up significantly, and still none of the coins or projects would really be that, you know, they wouldn't be that super overheated. You're going to have like high funding rates, you're going to have open interest spikes, you're going to have leverage flushes, but I mean, Link going to, right, Chainlink going to 30 wouldn't exactly signal the end or anything like that, right? It's had 20 months of consolidation and then finally breaking out of it. So, that's the fucking, people forget, like, our memories are so short. Like, this part isn't easy, right? For one, most people aren't long link and weren't long link, and they missed it and then they get chopped up. But two, they're like, how can it be this easy? It's not that easy. Don't you remember this? I remember that. I remember every single altcoin request I did for 18 months straight. Every time you guys would request link, I would say dog shit, because that's all it was. It was doing nothing. So that's the big difference. Like, we've had all that. And I think this faster cycle theory, right, which I kind of, shorter cycle, I guess, I kind of agree with, because, like I've been saying for the past week or so, I think the whole market is going to look at, November 2024 as the time where they can definitely pump the markets into. And after that, it becomes a bit unknown. Kind of depends who wins the election, what they do, with policy after that. So if we're up only until the election, then I kind of look at, like, this range on Link before it broke out, right? Which actually was a shorter range, June until June. That was 12 months. This one is even longer. This one is May until October, right? Which is about 17 months to be completely accurate. Let's call it 18 months. And, right, that was it for Link. Link never went back there. Link's probably never going to go back here. It's marking up. And cycle by cycle, right, set a low and a high, came back to a higher low. Now, that doesn't mean it has to make a higher high, but it is a sign of relative strength compared to 2019, right? And so, if we get this type of price action, then obviously I expect the exact same thing to happen, right? So if Link just goes vertically up to 30, I do expect it to retrace that, right? That's because that's how these type of moves occur. If it goes, especially after an uptrend, just like 2020, we already had an uptrend, then we went parabolic, then we crashed, then we recovered, then we mooned. I don't think we're going to do the same thing. I think the market's going to be a lot more efficient. But I don't think that in any way, shape, or form is this the top. I just don't think it is. Right? I think there's a lot more to come. And then it bleeds. Right? And then it goes for a proper run whenever it goes. I don't know. The point is not really timing. Do I think this rally goes until March? No. I think, like, it probably happens much sooner. But it's about the final leg coming and then the unwind of it. I think that's going to be the price action of some of these coins over the next few months. Or you also have to remember and consider the possibility that, with the market being a lot more efficient now, that we don't get kind of blow off tops on all these all these coins, and maybe Link just sort of, as other things going to blow off tops, which they are, maybe Link just kind of grinds up and grinds up and grinds up and grinds down and grinds down and grinds down, and then like Link goes again. Can also imagine that. I think a lot of coins are going to do this type of grinding higher and higher and higher, while other stuff, like Invective, goes parabolic, right? And already has done that. So I think that's probably what we're going to see. If I go back over to Bitcoin, GM, bit a reminder of this. I covered this on one of the streams about how tops form, and it's about altcoin outperformance. Yeah, absolutely. And then Bitcoin focus. So, are people focused on Bitcoin, or are they distracted? Is a big question. So we had it over here when BlackRock announced their filing. The market was hyper focused on Bitcoin. Then we had the Ripple news, which caused that little spike, and then big pumps on alts, and then Bitcoin's price stopped going up and kind of grinded down, and alts started to pump, so people started ignoring Bitcoin and lost focus on BTC. That obviously led to the flush out, the reaccumulation, and then away we go. The way I see it is this is our low point to come back to in future, right? I think all of this gets left behind and held. And I don't think that we're going to just like go like this because the market's not interested in Bitcoin and then we sell off. I mean, obviously, if that did happen, I think it would lead to a bigger move up right away. It doesn't really align though with the ETF idea. So I don't think the market is losing focus on BTC right now, because whenever BlackRock applied, the market had about a week or two where it said, "Oh, is it going to get a fast approval?" Now nobody who knows anything was saying that, but the market was, right? Anyone with any knowledge of ETFs, and especially the SEC and how much they hate crypto, would know that they're never going to approve a Bitcoin ETF before they need to, even if it's BlackRock. So the market lost focus on Bitcoin quite fast with it, but it will not lose focus here. We are hyper Bitcoin ETF focused. So I think it's choppy. It's going to continue to be that way. I've said all the way 40, 45 because of options expiry. So until Friday, we do not see Bitcoin above 45 or below 40. And if we do go above 45, unless it's an approval, some people are kind of rumoring that there could be an early approval before Christmas, or before, not Christmas, sorry, before the new year. I think that's just rumors, like the rumors have been circulating randomly every few weeks. People are, is there approval coming? I think those rumors are just that, and we'll end up getting the approvals exactly when we expected, which is like Monday the 8th of January, most likely. So the market has not lost focus yet on Bitcoin. I think this is very important. So let's say the ETF comes here, right? And let's just imagine Bitcoin is like that, okay? And that's Bitcoin done. And then Bitcoin goes like this, and it stays there, and people are like, oh, maybe the ETF is bullish, right? Post ETF, and then it drops off, and then Bitcoin's going like that. That's your move. That's your time there, right? Before we go into like months of shite. If something like that happened, this is when alts are going to run